This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
This is absolute tosh.
Blimey, Theresa May. Do you remember what a Prime Minister used to sound like?
No.
Instead of, you know, all that. Actual Prime Ministerial Theresa May. Would you like to come back? All is forgiven. No, relax. Kick off your comedy clown shoes. Put your feet up. You deserve it. Archie texts, do you think the Bristol statue case involving the Remainer 4 should be referred to the Court of Appeal? Have you signed the petition against the knighthood of the Europhile Tony Blair and his mandated vaccination in parts of Europe? Fair. Hey, this person wants your job. Hey, Mr. Producer Man, you're fired. Good work there, Archie. Wrong show. Headline in the Mail, brace for more carnage. There's a light dusting of snow.
Oh, no.
Much of Britain was placed under ice alert tonight by forecasters. Amid chaos on the roads as blizzards brought up to 6 inches of snow in some parts.
Emergency, everybody to get from street. Emergency, everybody to get from street.
6 inches, and I'll translate that into European surrender measurements for you. Let's see, you multiply by 9, divide by 5, and add 32. This should be easy. So 6 inches by 9, 6 nines are 69. Divide by 5 is about, roughly 15. And 15 plus 32 is 57. Wow, there's been 57 metres of snow in some parts. Can you believe that?
No.
The Met Office has said there will be potentially tricky conditions and an increased risk of likelihood of accidents or injuries with icy patches forming on some untreated roads, pavements and cycle paths in parts of the UK. They recommend speeding up, tailgating the car in front, while fiddling with the stereo to turn it up so loud that houses you pass have cracks form in their walls. And don't forget to tailgate the car in front. Of course, if you're in an off-roader, you will already be doing this.
Thank you.
The Met Office issued 2 weather warnings for ice from central Scotland down to Manchester and in central and southern England and southern Wales, which sounds like everywhere to me. Met Office forecaster Craig said, in Glasgow this morning, a school bus collided with a truck blocking Barrhead Road. There were no injuries. A handful of schools in Scotland had to close due to severe road conditions, including Grantown Grammar and Kingussie High, which I only mention because it allows me to say Kingussie. Rising temperatures throughout the country will today be accompanied by frequent showers as the winds pick up. There's a risk of lightning strikes, thunder, lightning, very, very frightening. Isolated thunderstorms may form in coastal areas. Tomorrow, wet and windy weather will cross all parts of the UK with heavy rain likely in many areas, along with squally winds, whatever that is. There will be perhaps a sudden increase in wind speed which can cause violent conditions. Violent? Wow, the weather's violent. So angry. Is it Brexit?
No.
It follows the UK's warmest ever New Year's Day on Saturday with the St James Park in London registering 61.3 degrees Fahrenheit. Blimey, that's higher than it has been since 1916. And that came after the country's mildest New Year's Eve. Thanks to global warming.
Yeah.
Saturday, rain, heavy in parts, and I sincerely hope that your parts remain unaffected. Sunday to Tuesday, dry and bright, occasional showers in the west, far southeast staying dry, further showers far northwest. Well, I bet there will be. In the far northwest? Yeah, I bet there will be showers in the far northwest. Far northwest. Far northwest. Checking while you wait. Aha! This is Glasgow. Raining tonight and raining tomorrow and raining on Sunday and raining on Monday and not raining on Tuesday. Rubbish. You've got like 3 days where it won't rain. Can you believe that? And then, of course, it'll be raining every day for the rest of your lives. So you'll almost dry out next week before you get damp again. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the rest of the month?
No.
This is until Friday the 21st of this month. At the start, settled conditions, light winds, cloudy, temperatures average. Meanwhile, rain, drizzle, stronger winds further north. Western, northwestern parts expected to continue to see the wettest and windiest weather. And then the last week in January, and the first week in February. And once you get to the first week in February, we've almost got through winter, almost. We'll only have the rest of February, March, April, May and June to go before we can actually get warm again. So, last week in January, first week in February, unsettled and changeable, with spells of cold, wet and windy weather moving across the Atlantic, coming over here, push it back out to sea, pretty. Western and northwestern parts likely to see the wettest and windiest conditions overall, while eastern and southern eastern parts probably seeing the most of any drier spells. Temperatures likely to be slightly above average. Temperatures likely to be slightly above average? We'll take it. So the Colston verdict. Do you want to do that?
No.
Boris Johnson said vandals should not be allowed to change our history. Change our history. What's he talking about? This is following an outcry over the Colston statue trial verdict. Okay, first off, you only have one thing to say about this, Boris.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
There was a widespread outpour of anger after a jury cleared 4 activists of criminal damage for toppling the controversial monument in Bristol, says the Mail. You mean in the comments section of the Daily Mail? I couldn't believe it, could you? I was stunned. I mean, I don't have a very strong opinion one way or the other, but I definitely knew how thought I knew how this was going to go down. I thought there would be punishment aplenty. I am stunned. There was localised anger among those that do anger for a hobby, of course, but the rest of us couldn't quite believe that it had gone that way. I mean, it would have been worth risking jail by chucking that thing in the drink just to see the look on Priti Patel's face when they got off. I mean, can you imagine? I bet she tore the head off a dog. The Prime Minister insisted that those who want to remove statues must do so democratically, and vowed never to allow a vote to remove a statue while he was pretending to care about running this country. Ain't that right, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Former Justice Secretary Robert Buckland urged the Crown Prosecution Service to refer the decision to the Court of Appeal. Well, I don't know much about... I know as much about anything as Jacob Rees-Mogg.
I don't know anything.
But I do know that you can't refer it to the Court of Appeal unless you think there's been a legal error, a mistake. You can't just do it because you don't like the result, you know. Not even in this country. Not even with this government can you do that. Yet. He said urgent action. He, former Justice Secretary Robert Buckland, said urgent action was needed in a bid to iron out any ambiguity in the law, amid concern that the verdict could become a vandal's charter. Ambiguity. The law is you get a trial with a jury and the jury come to a decision and that's that. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with Jacob Rees-Mogg. What? That's pretty much what he said this week. He said you get a trial and that means that it's working well. I don't know whether he was being sarcastic when he said it. It's very difficult to tell with him. Everything he says and does looks sarcastic, but I believe that he's actually serious. The ambiguity. What they meant by that ambiguity was that there was a difference between what the regime wanted and what they got. That's not the definition of ambiguity. That's the definition of being a baby. Bodger said, what you can't do is go around seeking retrospectively to change our history or to bowdlerise it. There's one of those words you're going to go and have to look up. Bowdlerise it or edit in retrospect. I'll read that again. He said, what you can't do is go around seeking retrospectively to change our history. How is it changing our history? It's not changing it any more than when the National Trust tell you how the people who built the mansion that you're having tea and crumpets in that day got their money. It's not changing history, it's illuminating it. He said, you can't go around seeking retrospectively to change our history or to Baudelarise it or edit it in retrospect. It's like some person trying to edit their Wikipedia entry. It's wrong. He said, if people democratically want to remove a statue or whatever, that's fine, but I think that in general we should preserve our cultural, artistic, historical legacy. Okay, first, you can edit your Wikipedia entry. I mean, if there's something offensive in it. My Wikipedia entry used to say that I had a tail.
What?
That's true. It may still say that. I don't know. I don't look up myself much on the internet. But it did. It used to say I had a tail. An actual fact. I read it on the internet. So in that respect, it would be perfectly acceptable to change your Wikipedia entry, wouldn't it? Hello? Is this thing on? I mean, if there's something offensive in it, change it. Second, it's not censoring or Baudelarising, as he put it, to take down a statue of a horrible man that was responsible for horrific things. It's not rewriting history to pull statues down of those people, any more than it's rewriting history to tell National Trust visitors how the families that own the mansions came about their money. See, a statue's there to revere the subject. They're on a plinth, raised above us. Some people don't deserve to be revered. And about the democratic way to remove them, how exactly? People have been trying to get that statue in Bristol taken off that plinth for years. How are they going to do that democratically? I mean, the government's got absolutely zero intention of letting you vote on anything of the sort. You know they won't. But that's the catch, you see. You must remove them by democratic vote. And by the way, we won't allow you to have a democratic vote. Questions? I bet Vlad the Insaner is watching from Moscow taking notes. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
0345 6060 973. I thought, says Jim, privatising utilities was done to increase competition and drive prices down. So what happened? Oh, Jim. Privatising utilities was done to increase the vast fortunes of people that sucked up all the shares, those and the CEOs that run those companies. It's not for the little people, not leprechauns. Sid's a billionaire by now. Daniela texts, 57 metres of snow. Surely that would mean an ice age. Yes, said Danielle. Be prepared. Johnny says, did you notice that PMQs was at 3 p.m. on Wednesday and not 12? Apparently it was Parliament's first day back in session. The rest of the country was back at 9 the previous day. Not to mention that MPs probably broke up a week before everyone else at Christmas. Yes. I think they got, three weeks, something like that? And then they're back halfway through the week, halfway through the day, halfway through the week. And, of course, they don't show up on Friday, so it's barely worth them coming back at all. But we appreciate the effort.
Thank you.
So those 4 activists who were acquitted on Wednesday after tearing down the statue of slave trader Edward Colston and chucked it in Bristol Harbour during a Black Lives Matter protest in June 2020 are being fulminated about. Is that the right word? Probably not. Conservative MPs voiced fears the verdict set a dangerous precedent which could lead to juries acquitting defendants for political reasons rather than according to the evidence. Well, how about according to what's right? This is a political party getting stuck into how a trial was decided by a jury while saying that they're concerned about politics entering the justice system. Right. That makes as much sense as anything else that's happened over the past 12 months. Oh, by the way, the book's out. You know, the A to Z that we did over Christmas and New Year, that's out. Plus the forward is my month by month, play by play assessment of how it went, how, the things that delighted and amused and appalled us. It's called The Ins and Outs, The Cheese and Wine of 2021. And as I promised, it's as cheap as they could possibly allow, £1.72. Well, it does not get cheaper than that, because they won't allow it. £1.72 for Eco Book. Or if you want a Dead Tree version, it's a little bit more. It's available on an Amazon near you. Anyway, back to this. What's his name? God, I've forgotten what his name is. Oh, Robert Buckland. You know Robert Buckland, don't you? Yeah. Mr. Buckland will not change the outcome of the trial, despite the course of action that he's proposing. He says it sets a dangerous precedent which could lead to juries actually making their own mind up, as opposed to doing what the government wants them to do. Very, very dangerous. The action proposed by Buckland is not going to change the outcome, but it could help prevent the courts from being turned into, quotes, political playgrounds. Because, you know, if the courts are going to act in the favour of a political group, then it should be his political group. That's my apple backing up on me. Fruit is very dangerous. Where am I? I mean, can you imagine if the verdict went the other way? I mean, would ministers be scrutinising the case to see if everything was above board? Of course they wouldn't. They wouldn't be able to, because they'd be cross-eyed from the celebrations.
Booze.
Last night, a CPS spokesmodel said, "We are considering the outcome of the case, but under the law, the prosecution cannot appeal against a jury acquittal." Yeah, the government's not appealing. Well, got that right. Mr. Buckland highlighted powers under the Criminal Justice Act of 1972, which allows the CPS and the Attorney General to refer acquittals to the Court of Appeal. Senior judges could then rule whether the outcome of the trial was incorrect on a point of law. They're not going to let this go. They will spend an unlimited amount of your money to get the answer that they wanted in the first place. Literally, no amount will be too much. But don't ask for any of that money yourself. It's not a magic money tree, you know. 0345 6060 973. Oh my God, is this thing on? Hello? Not one call in 25 minutes. That's incredible. You know how many calls I had over Christmas and New Year? Thousands. Apparently nobody's interested in this issue, so I'll move on. Gordon says it's Bowdlerise, with bow pronounced as in bow wow wow. Bowdlerise. Bowdlerise. Well, you say bow, I say bow. Let's call the whole thing off. John says Terry May does not keep a nice house. Who's Terry May? Who's Terry May?
Theresa May.
Oh, Teresa. Oh, yeah. Yeah, tip. It was not a tip. We saw pictures of the inside. It was not a tip. But, it was accoutered with the tastes of the middle class. Ugh. Not quite up to Bodge's standards. Terry May does not keep a nice house, says John. According to the Bodge, Downing Street was a tip, and you can almost believe everything honest Bodge says.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
Yeah, sure you did. God, the smirk on his face when he said that. Particularly when he said it second, because he knew that if I'll just keep repeating it, and then this dreadful woman reporter will just go away and allow me to get on with my various shenanigans and finagling. There you go. You see, all I've got to do is yell at them, and there's a full board now. It works like magic. John says our local weather mentions organised rain. What, like the mafia?
Absolutely.
I have visions of multiple raindrops marching on London. Should I take cover? Says John. Too late, John. Bell says, thanks for publishing the A to Z of 2021. I'm glad it's in paperback, as I hate I hate trees. Yeah, well, what have trees ever done for us, eh? Good point there, Bell. This one says, Happy New Year, Nick. Don't forget to ask the Lord to write your name in the Book of Life. There's a book. Is it available on Amazon? Oh, well, then I'm not interested. Kath says, what do you think of the Djokovic-Australia situation? Oh, well, tennis. Boring. I couldn't care less. Like, giant robot humanoids bashing a ball from one end of an oblong to the next, over and over and over again. God, it's as boring as Formula One. Nothing ever happens. Some 7-foot freak will bash the ball in a serve, and the person on the other end won't be able to touch it, and then they go to the other side of the court and he does the same again, and then the other side he does the same again, and then again, and then again, and it's game, and that's it. Don't care, Kath, but thanks for asking. She says, what do you think of the Djokovic-Australia situation? That plus the Colston verdict made my day on Wednesday. Can't wait for Australia to kick him out. I wonder if there are any Djokovic statues knocking about, says Kath, and then she says, lol. Kids, you have got to stop writing that stuff. You're not 12. Well, you may actually be 12, Kath, but that would only be acceptable if you were. Fortunately, she didn't put an emoji, because that would be right out. I know I was bellyaching about a lack of calls, but now I've got some. I'm not going to take them. Ian tweets, if we get LBC to organise a petition, we could get a statue of Nick Abbot erected. Yes, Nick, one day your plinth will come. And finally, for the moment, Catherine emails, did you hear that the PM wants God Save the Queen played every night on TV? A fascist regime. Not that one. Just like the USA plays their national anthem. What do you reckon? Ready to sing every night? Absolutely. I'll play it on this show because I want to demonstrate my patriotism. I am at this moment staring admiringly at a portrait of Her Majesty the Queen. I think it's just preposterous. What are they talking about? They're going to play the national anthem at the end of the programming. Well, step into the 1980s. There is no end to the programming. It goes on all night, 24 hours a day. It's like a casino. End of the programming. I mean, really? A fantastic question. Yeah, fantastic as in science fiction, as in divorced from reality. I mean, just when you think it couldn't possibly get any worse, it does. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 10:30. The news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Well, let's see. I'm talking to John in Brighton. Hello, John.
Hello there, Nick. Yeah.
Hello there, John.
I thought you always had a full switchboard there.
Usually, always, yes.
Yeah,
but when I start to yak at the beginning of the show, people just sit there and lean back, and it just washes over them.
Yeah, I was listening to your startup rants. Yeah, I think this outrage. Yeah.
Anybody says more than 5 words in this country, and it's described as a rant.
I think this Colston verdict is outrageous. I think they should have been locked up. Don't you?
No.
No?
No.
I mean, you can't have, a mob rule going around tearing down statues. It's not right, is it?
Well, they've been trying for decades to get that statue removed. What was left to them, with legal means? I mean, Bodger says, you've got to do this democratically. But if they don't allow you to do it democratically, what's left? Well,
that's democracy. You don't always win. They didn't win. That's what should. That's what it should
democracy
stand.
Is where you get to vote, not you get told what to do and sit there and shut up about it. That's a dictatorship.
Well, democracy is the vote or democratic process, and they didn't win on the democratic process, did they?
There was no. You're not listening to me, John. There was no democratic process.
Yeah.
They didn't allow them to vote.
Well,
they've been trying for 10 years or more to get that thing taken down.
Yeah. I think, this thing about obviously they're trying to rewrite history.
Oh my God! What do you mean rewrite history?
Well, tearing down the statue isn't going to change history, is it? You're not going to change what happened 400 years ago.
That's not the point. That's not why they're doing it. They're not doing it to try to change history. You'd have to be out your mind to try to change history.
Yeah, but there's nothing there to remind them of the way it was then now, is it? It's been thrown, so it would have been better to put something there, a plaque, like people have suggested before, a plaque or something with it to... to
remind them of the bad things that have gone before. Right, okay, well, let's put up a statue for Hitler, shall we? That would be a good idea. Then we can always be reminded about Hitler.
It's not quite the same, is it? Don't forget Colston, that was the way it was then. It was legal then. So it's no good trying to judge things from 500 years later.
John, you're missing the point entirely.
No.
To put a statue on a plinth is to revere the subject of that statue.
Yeah, well, he was revered, obviously, in the past.
Yes.
And it was all legal then. Back in the 400, 500 years ago, that was legal then. Yeah, now we judge it. You're trying to rewrite history by judging it a different way.
Stop saying rewrite. Yeah. It's not rewriting, it's illuminating.
No, that's the way it was then.
You're just repeating what you're hearing on the radio and the television.
No.
Rewriting history. Like ministers have been saying this over and over again. They've been hypnotising you, John.
No.
Prove to me that you're not under hypnosis.
No, I'm not there.
I want you to take your clothes off and walk around like a chicken. Thanks a lot, mate. That's an excellent idea. I think we should put up statues to Hitler in every town in the country to remind us of the bad things that have gone before. Hands in the air, who's with me? Not many. 0345 6060 973. Pete text, did you hear about the bird flu in England? That's all we need. Crovid. Yeah, they're going to start executing chickens now. And Bodger will go on television and say, well, I hate to break the news to you, but they have to kill chickens. Whoa. It was Andrew Marr that he said that to, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. He was being quizzed by Andrew Marr. And Andrew Marr said something like, the biggest pig cull in the history of this country. And Bodger actually sat there. He doesn't even try, does he? He knows that he can do anything he blooming well likes from a lifetime's experience, and he just gets away with it. He's like the embodiment of Just William and Billy Bunter combined. And he just said, well, I hate to break the news to you, but they have to kill pigs to make bacon. Blah. Aren't I funny? No? No. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Graham texts, if Doctor Who went back in time to right the wrongs, would we all cease to exist? Well, that's an excellent question, Graham, and that will be the topic in the next hour. 0345 6060 973. Manchester. Hello, Graham.
Good evening, young fella.
Graham.
Yes, did you watch Prime Minister's Question Time on Wednesday?
No, I've seen clips. Angela Rayner.
Yes, he's terrified of strong women, isn't he?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think that they were having a little bit too much fun with each other, for my liking.
No, I think he knew what was coming, and he wasn't happy with it, and she was laughing at him, not with him.
Well, I think they were both laughing with each other, actually.
You don't think she was flirting with him?
It seemed a little bit flirty. I mean, I'm sure she's not, after a date.
He's a married man who's always been faithful. Come on, he wouldn't stray, would he? Surely.
That's what every woman who has ever gone out with him thinks. Well, he won't stray under my watch.
How dare you come up with such things? You've got no evidence at all.
How's that working out for you, ladies?
Oh, fabulous.
That's what I thought.
It's a little bit flimsy. Anyway. Did you hear what he said about the warm home discount?
The warm hunger what?
The warm home discount.
Oh, the warm home discount.
Home discount.
Yeah, it was.
Which is in actual fact less less than £2.70 a week, and he said it was £140 a week.
Yeah, 140 times 52 is £7,280. Wow, you are quids in, people.
I wish I got that.
Definitely.
It's £140 a year, not a week. But he actually repeated it twice, and nobody's pulled him up about it.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
He followed the ministerial guidance at all times, and we know that because he said so.
Did you say guidance or guides?
Guidance.
Sorry, I was beginning to think if he'd been following guides around. You wouldn't want that, would you?
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
Well, you might be right. Come to think of it, he wasn't absolutely specific about that. So we're going to look into that, Graham. We'll get Lord Geit.
Would you do that, please?
Yeah, we'll get Lord Geit to look into that. He'll look into it and come to the conclusion of not guilty. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. From this moment onwards, Bodge's dad is going to be his chief overseer.
I can't comment on that.
He wants his father to mark his homework from this moment on. Hey, Bodge. Yes. D-Tex, I would have called to tell you that I had the new variant thingy. However, I don't. All tests negative. No. However, I don't. All tests negative. I've got the flu and I've lost my voice from coughing so much. Have a good night. Break a leg, as the saying goes. Oh, you're coughing? Oh, that's terrible.
Stop whining.
Shahaf says, it sounds like Bodger has the best words, like you know who. Who? Who has the best words?
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
Oh, he has the best words. Let's have Broadstairs. Hello, Phil.
Hello there.
Hello there.
I'm extremely depressed. I mean, I was about to celebrate with you a year of being freed from Roman statute law, 1 year out of the Brussels grip of bureaucrats, and we find ourselves with the Vote Leave government betraying us by attacking our jury system. I mean, I thought they were going to respect English law. That was what I voted for.
Only the parts that they agree with and that reflect well on them.
But these were 12 people good and true, as you know.
I don't know. Let's not get carried away. They came from Bristol.
Well, at least not Broadstairs. But we've had Brighton. No, but seriously, I think this is just amazing. I mean, did you see that Suella, what's her name, Bravman, is it? She was on Question Time one night, and she was absolutely all over the place. How on earth she's got this job? But it's very worrying that they really are thinking about fiddling around the jury system, because it seems to me, Nick, that anybody they don't like, they kind of try and quotes reform them.
Yeah, they need to be
society,
they need to be
commission,
re-educated. Yes.
Well, there must be camps opening soon. I suppose maybe there'll be a few jobs created. I don't know, but it's very worrying. But can I just mention Tony Blair briefly?
No. Oh, all right. Oh, okay then.
I was just going to say, I want to subscribe to a statue for Jimmy Savile, because if one can let crimes go unaddressed, like the Iraq War surely was, then presumably we can overlook Jimmy for being a sort of a serial paedophile. After all, everybody in the establishment loved him, didn't they?
They did seem to be weirdly attracted to him. He repelled me from the very first moment I saw him, and I couldn't stand listening to him either. But, that's just me. There was this whole host of the DJs from around that era, all of whom were...
He got a knighthood, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah. Yeah, well,
there you are.
I mean, well, there you are, yeah. Well, I've said this before, that, the higher the honour, the higher the funny title and badge, then it seems like the more suspicious the character to my eyes. But maybe that's just me. Thanks a lot, Phil. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, but people just seemed, people from the upper echelons, not down in the lower echelons, like the likes of you and me. The upper echelons. They seem weirdly attracted to Jimmy Savile. Strange. I couldn't stand him. I mean, so you think about him now, knowing what we know, and you perhaps... am I remembering it right? Was I always creeped out by him? Kind of, yeah. I mean, what was he dressed like for a start? I mean, he was, 157 years old? He seemed to be 157 years old from the 1970s onwards. Dressed like that. And there was this whole era of famous DJs. And I thought, like Alan Freeman and John Peel and Noel Edmonds and other DJs are available. Tony and, all of that lot. And all of them had charming parts. Let me rephrase that. In fact, scrub that from your memory. All of them had a certain charm. You didn't necessarily hang on their every word, but you didn't object to their presence. But when that bloke came on the weekend, I just had to turn it off. Couldn't stand it. What is this? I thought. And didn't he follow Alan Freeman? All right. He shouldn't even have been on the same station as Alan Freeman. So I've just got sidetracked down a bizarre little avenue, which I am going to reverse out of during this break.
Leading Britain's Conversation, LBC, with Nick Abbott.
Some nobody.
0345 6060 973. Ian texts, when they bring in the national anthem, what time will the television shut down? Will we still get Match of the Day, do you think? Or will they use it to get rid of Lefty Lineker? I don't know what they're thinking of. I mean, and this isn't the first time that bloke said this, is it? His most enormous fabulousness from Romford. He said this a few years ago, and everybody thought, really? And he's brought it up again. I am stunned. For everything that's going on in this country, this is what they're obsessing about. I mean, is this what the good people of where did I just say he was from? Norwich? Norbert? Northwick? I can't remember. Romford, not beginning R. Romford. Is this what they had in mind when they put him in that position to represent their interests? That he was going to bang on about putting... I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I think James O'Brien... it was the Lefty Lineker. He tweeted, yes, let's be less like Britain and more like North Korea. Exactly. I mean, unless they're just so out of touch that they think that the television stops at 11, like it used to. Yeah, it used to be. Hey, kids, you're not going to believe this. There used to be a time when the television stopped. Can you believe that?
What?
Exactly. Yeah, they used to have a clock. A clock would come up and it would tick to like midnight or 11:30 or something like that. And the man would say, well, I wish you a very good evening on this warm Wednesday night and wish you all the best for a long, happy, peaceful sleep. No touching or spooning. And then they play this. Oh, and that would send you to sleep with a smile on your face, wouldn't it? Very, very relaxing. God, painful. I feel for the Queen because every time she steps out of a carriage, they strike up that dirge, like she hasn't suffered enough. But it doesn't. The TV doesn't stop at 11 o'clock now, or 11:30, or 12 even. I mean, they put a movie on at 11 o'clock and they'll finish at 1:30. Are they going to play it then? There's no audience at 1:30. Everybody's taped it, so we're going to be watching it on tape the next day, and it'll be coming up at 7 o'clock, and everybody will be leaping out of their seats, their tea spilling onto the floor. Or they think, well, at the strike of 12, regardless of what else is happening, we're going to put it on, like in the middle of a film or in the middle of a match. Man City will be playing Man United and City will be up about 10-0, and it'll be half-time, and they're going to strike up the band. It's just, talk about trying to revivify the culture war. This is ridiculous. Still, fantastic question. Tom tweets, Bristolians have been trying to get that wretched statue taken down for about a century. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, they've had a counter Colston campaign for about the last 7 years, something like that. And before that, people have been disinclined to hold it in a positive light, to put it mildly, and neither should they. But if you've had a campaign to get something taken down for 7 years, and people just keep saying, no. Well, what's left to you? If you can't do it by democratic means, it's like catch-22. The government says, well, you must do it by democratic means. And we'll say, well, can we have a vote about it? And they say, no. But then what? I just can't believe they got off, can you? I am stunned. Is this still Great Britain? Lisa tweets on a night like this. She says Colston's statue is still in the M Shed Museum if people want to kneel at its feet. Yeah, you want to revere it, it's still there. In fact, I think it's probably on its side, isn't it? So that is actually writing history. More history has been written concerning that artwork and concerning that person. It's not rewriting history, it's writing it. When they say stuff like that, it rubs my fur up the wrong way so much. Oh, they say the same people saying the same thing about the National Trust, which utterly, perfectly and totally reasonably, it's absolutely what they should be doing. We're telling people about the places that you go and have a cup of tea and a sandwich in and walk around the grounds going, oh, it's nice, isn't it? All those old people that troop around those gardens. I'm always interested. In fact, I quiz the people inside the houses because, they're standing there on their own, so bored. And you know that they want to help. They've studied all this stuff to the National Trust spokesmodels or whatever you call them. And normally they're just sitting in this airless room while these people shuffle by. And they don't want to make eye contact with the person in there, with a name tag on, because they know that the person with the name tag will start talking to them. And that's not what British people want at all. We don't want to make a fuss. We don't want to be noticed. So we studiously avoid their eye contact, while they meanwhile are ready to leap out of their seat at anybody who's got a questioning look on their face. And it's usually, where's the toilet? So I like to engage them. Where did they get the money for this then? I'll say. Which is not what they're prepared to answer. They didn't learn that part. But I think that they should. I want to know. There's precious few people that own most of this country even now. But back then, it's ridiculous. And how did they get it? Well, they just took it. And then they handed it down from one criminal family enterprise to the next. And then 500 years later, they've still got it. But they can't keep the roof on, so they allow a troop of people to walk in and out on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon, closed Thursday through Sunday, for May, June and July. And they get millions of pounds stuck up them from our taxes. What a racket, eh? But I want to know where the money came from. And it's not rewriting history. Of course it isn't. It's illuminating history. I mean, it's just such a preposterous thing to say. But people like that first caller I had, God, it seems so long ago. They just repeat it. Oh, well, you can't tell us where the money came from to build these manors and these fabulous estates because that's rewriting history. It's just so idiotic. Of course it's not. It's like opening a history book is not rewriting it, it's reading it. On that subject, Matt texts, was Bodger rewriting history when he was writing his biography of Churchill rather than attending Cobra meetings at the start of COVID?
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
He's become like a robot. He's a humanoid now, like Dominic Deckchair Raab. And just as tetchy, by the way. There seems to be at the beginning of journalists being more like they are in America, actually talking back to the politician. I know we're past the age of deference, and some journalists have sort of started doing that a bit, but I think that the cap was put on that when Bodger became the Dear leader, because they're just so enamoured of him. He's a bit of a star, you know. They talk to him a bit like they would a Hollywood star or a comedian, something like that. Lesser politicians. They're in awe of his aura. I can but you can smell it from 3 feet away. But just lately, they've been almost, but not quite, putting up a fight. Kind of, a bit. He gets a pass like no other politician because he's that funny bloke off the telly. He's a star. And so they do treat him with a bit of, they're in an awed fashion, like they don't do with anybody else. Apart from maybe somebody who is, also has a performance act.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
That Lord Snooty. But just lately, a little bit, they've been fighting back. I mean, that nice lady, I think it was off the ITN news, she said, you don't seriously expect people to believe that, you lost your phone or your dog ate it.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
He said. And then she said, like words to this effect, she said, oh, come off it, no one's going to believe that. And he said...
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
Yeah, but he said it with a smirk on his face, like, I'm going to stand here and say this over and over and over again to any question that you ask, and then you'll look foolish because you just keep asking me the same questions over and over. Or in other words, I'm getting away with it and there's nothing you can do. No. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello. Well, let's get back to it.
Grange Hill, the movie. I cannot wait not to see that. Angela emails, I'm clicking your A to Z list link and all I'm getting is a map of Brixton and South Devon. What am I doing wrong? Well, I assume you're being sarcastic. The A to Z of... it's not the A to Z of London. Do they actually have an A to Z of South Devon? How many roads have they got in South Devon that they would need an A to Z for? Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll point you in the right direction. But the book of the big list that we made over Christmas and New Year, the A to Z of 2021, that's out, including the month-by-month account, the blow-by-blow account, the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the cheese and wine of the year. Because all the way through the year, I was writing an account of, the astonishing things that happened to us. And some of them were really just priceless. I mean, I won't get into them now, but some of the stories were just... They came and went, and people sort of attended to them for about a day, and then by the next day we'd forgotten all about it. But they in retrospect, they do stick out as, among the most delightful and fabulous things that happened to us last year. And there was precious little of that about, eh? So anyway, I've stuck it all in a book, and it's called The Ups and Downs, the Cheese and Wine of 2021, including the big A to Z of that year. And it's, like I said, it's the cheapest they will allow me to put it out, which is £1.72. Giving it away. At Amazon, by the way. Manchester. Hello, Steve.
Evening, Nick.
Steve.
Grange Hill, the movie, just say no. I got there first.
Yeah. That's right.
All the things... No.
Yes.
It writes itself. All the things, or most of the things I was going to say, I rang up about Colston, but a lot of the points have been made better by you or other callers. What I would say, this culture war obsession that the right have latched onto, I believe that it is partly because their economics have been a complete you-know-what. it's really gone down the toilet economically for them. So the sort of social politics and the cultural politics is all they've got left to go on. There's now else.
It really keeps the fans on side, and it's more of this the Republican Party in America's playbook. That's how they go over there, and so if it's a winning formula, just keep doing that.
It's that thing of not is it never overestimate or underestimate, the lack of critical faculty, shall we say. We're not allowed to call people stupid, are we? Because that offends people who say...
It offends stupid people.
Well, yeah, it offends people who say that we shouldn't be offended as well.
That's right.
Which links into these people who pretend to care about history. They've never heard of Colston Inn or Light.
Couldn't care less. No, not remotely interested, are they? Apart from when they are invited to get angry about something. Anger is the motivating force. That's what they want you to be.
Well, why are they angry? Because people don't like the fact that, this guy oversaw the deaths of whatever tens of thousands of people, really horrible stuff.
No, that's not the point. That's not the point, Steve. They're not angry about that. They're angry about long-haired liberals doing something that they don't like. The matter of Colston, I bet you couldn't get the people who are angry about the statue to actually come up with his name.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing, and this was made by another caller as well. They would often fashion themselves patriots, wouldn't they, these folk? And yet, the jury trial system bequeathed to the world by England for 800 years, that goes out the window all of a sudden. It's deeply unpatriotic, isn't it, to be that angry? This is 12 Bristolians who listened to 2 weeks of evidence, and James O'Brien had a chap on yesterday. He was a key witness for the defence, and he was a eminent, brainy old geezer, and he very clearly outlined the case that venerating the Colston thing is a bigger offence than ditching him in the canal, and the jury accepted that because the guy who said, it was the values of the time to be a murderous whatever. Well, it's not the values of our time to venerate that.
Right.
And they just totally lose sight of that because, as you say, to think about things critically is a liberal disease to their kind of...
That's right.
Knowing stuff is like, that's
highly suspicious, yes. Well, it always has been in this country. Having knowledge and trying hard and reading is viewed as highly suspicious activity. Always has been.
Viewed by who? I mean, because there used to be, and probably still is, to be fair, among some communities, the sort of, what would you call it, autodidact, celebrating the self-learning of the working class, adult education and all that.
Right.
It is, to my mind... As long as
they don't get above their station, as long as they don't get learning to the point that they start climbing the social ladder, because then they're social climbers, and we know what we think of those.
Out with them. They, I probably run dry. I had some amazingly witty things to say, but it's escaped my brain. I shall let you get on with January, Nick, and thanks for the show.
Thanks, Steve. 0345 6060 973. Terence emails this morning. Mr. OB paid you a great compliment. He said that he'd never be as good as you. Rubbish. Phil emails. I see Dominic Cummings has come out of the woodwork again regarding parties at number 10. He's having a party. Yeah, I'm still not believing that party was a quiz night, by the way. I don't know who they think they're kidding, releasing a photograph of the world's most boring party with Bodger doing playing a quizmaster. Yeah, right. Strip quiz, I would believe that. Gary emails, I think all statues should remain whether they represent something good or bad in our history. History is history and we should not edit it. We edit it all the time, Gary. History is always being rewritten. Every day people are rewriting history. Or they're writing their version of history. History is not in stone, it's not in concrete, it is not to be revisited. Statues in public places should be of people or things that we agree as a society that we revere, because that's what the point of putting it on a plinth is for. It's for their reveration. And it's exhausting because none of the people that are the most angry about this could care one jot about Colston. They'd never heard of him before. They didn't know where the statue was. Even if they were living in Bristol, they wouldn't have known where the statue was. But now it's, topmost of their mind because long-haired liberal hippies have got one over on them, is what they feel. It's rewriting history. God, it's just so exhausting. It's just a culture war. You're being manipulated.
Disgusting.
Bodger's he's what now? Manipulating you.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
By manipulating you. It's just making you angry about stuff all the time, by which method he can control you more easily. If you're furious about inconsequential nonsense, then you're less concentrating on how Brexit's going, by the way. How is it going?
Brexit's going great.
Thanks, Nige, you're the best. Going abysmally badly. It's going so badly that civil servants have been banned from mentioning it by name. There was going to be a Brexit festival, remember that? They've changed that name. So they're trying to take your mind off it with all this culture war nonsense, because it doesn't cost them anything. It's free. Culture war is free and is a never-ending source of making you of stuff to make you angry. People are looking around for something to scream and shout about, to bury their enemies on Twitter or Facebook. And they spend all day long. I mean, I know. I've tried to wrench myself off Twitter as it is. And I know that I spend too much time on it. There's millions of people that don't know that they spend too much time on it. Trying to smash the faces of the people that disagree with them into their tables. I can be angrier than you. And when they start repeating these phrases like, and the perfect example is rewriting history. It's a nonsense phrase. It doesn't mean anything and is particularly irrelevant to the issue at hand. It's not rewriting it. Nobody is rewriting it. They're illuminating it. It's the opposite of that. Same with the National Trust. Same with all of these other institutions that they're trying to replace, what they would describe as loony lefty management, and put place persons in there to carry this on. It's exhausting. This year is pretty much exactly like last year. I hope you kept the receipt. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation, LBC, with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
I can't. Hey, by the way, Carol McGiffin and I do a podcast, and we've just done our 99th episode. I can't believe that Carol McGiffin and I have done 99 episodes of a podcast. That's 99 hours, and we still haven't killed each other.
Yeah.
We just put the 99th down. That will come out on Monday, and then it will be the 100th the following week. And we'll put together some clips of our favourite bits. And I know what my favourite bit is of the 100 episodes that have gone by. It's pretty much the only bit I can remember. So we'll stick that on there. If you haven't heard it, it is a laugh. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which the delightful Carol McGiffin and I try to solve people's problems while laughing like drains.
Oh, right, yeah.
If you want us to have a bash at your issue, then send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. That's nickandcarol@global.com, and prepare for total satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? Ask for it on an internet near you. Let's have a call in Glasgow. Hello, Frankie.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks.
This year's not even a week old and it's jumped the shark already.
This year has jumped the shark already. Correctamundo.
When I heard that the boys get not guilty for the statue thing. I was like, yeah. No, I put on UK news because I was expecting a massive meltdown, and it was unbelievable. The way they were talking about Coulston, I was like, hold on, has Gandhi just died? Mother Teresa, what's going on here? And
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I really was stunned when I heard the verdict, weren't you?
I was stunned, but listen, that's justice. You know, you want to all the best justice system in the world. Now it's all got.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. That is the definition of justice. That's what happened there.
I wish UK channel, UK News was at the end of the Second World War. But apparently, Data and Reich, Führer of Germany, has been dead. Oh, well, let's take away the negatives. He was no saint, but you have to look at the positives. He made Germany great again. You know?
Yes, that's right. Well, he literally did do that. Yeah, that was Hitler's phrase: "Make Germany great again." That's where Donny got that phrase. Well, Adolf Hitler.
Oh, shut up!
Yes, you know you did, Don.
See when I was trying to get through to the 80s, Nick, because you know I'm an avid listener, and I just couldn't get through.
Oh.
And I thought this year was absolutely brilliant. And it was, and mine's was, I tried to get through. Do you remember the storm? Well, the storm where everybody got blacked out up in the kind of northeast?
Yeah, Storm Arwen.
There was power. Right, Arwen, right. Well, they did an inquiry. Did you never see it? You need to see this, Nick. You'll be in fits. What happened was the guy that was in charge of the electricity, the guy that ran the company and made sure everything was okay, and if the power lines went down, he would make sure they were up and running.
Yeah.
Well, it was the exact same in remember years ago, the trains, there was snow and the trains get derailed, and they said it was unusual snow, it was different snow.
Very, very
well, this one, guy said he wasn't prepared because, get a look at this, it was a different wind. No, that guy knows nothing about wind.
Well, I know somebody who does.
I know a lot about wind. I know a lot about wind.
He said it was a different wind and it caught them off guard, and that's how the power lines went down. It took so long.
Well, that makes as much sense as anything else that happened last year.
Well, you have to get a guy in there that knows a lot about wind, and there's only one man, and that is
only
the man
one
across the pond.
Exactly, yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Frankie. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Gordon texts, on STV, you used to get late call before close down. Well, what does that mean? What's late call? George tweets, and I bet if he's very confused, is George. Sort yourself out, George. What are you trying to say? And I bet you, if a journalist asked Andrew Rossendale and Nadine Dorries to sing all the verses of the national anthem, they couldn't do it. I'm praying that somebody does that. It'll be comedy gold. Yeah, or even one verse. Mary says, the statue of Cecil Rhodes in Oxford is now behind a wire cage to protect it from missiles. Missiles. If China wants to attack it with one of its hypersonic missiles, then there's nothing we can do about it. Tim emails, I'm a lifelong Conservative voter, but I agree with you. Boris must go now. It's time to get Jacob Rees-Mogg into number 10. No. I assume you're joking. Smug? Absolutely. But, boy, there's some parts of the press that are gunning for Rishi Sunak. Fishy Sunak. They want him a lot. Did you see the thing in the Mail this week about Fishy Sunak? Oh, my God. I mean, really. Talk about in love. This is incredible. I'll get into that in a minute. First, here's a call in Lincoln. Dave.
Yes.
Yes, Dave.
That's me.
Yes, Dave.
Well, yeah. You mentioned Alan Freeman, right? Well, I once met him in this pub and we had a pint together. Not half.
Oh,
dear. You heard that one?
No.
Innit?
And I never want to hear it again.
No, I know. Yeah, it's only people who know him would understand that joke.
Yes.
Anyway, what I was going to talk about is, if I hear that word mentioned, what begins with D and ends with Y, I shall scream. I think you know what I mean.
Dandy? Davy? Doobie?
No, don't say it.
Is it a doobie?
Want to score some pot?
I'll give you a clue, right? I also getting fed up hearing that other word beginning with D as well. What Boris Johnson deliver? He says, first of all, we'll have to deliver this, deliver that, deliver that. He has to deliver. He only deliver the Royal Mail. I should be delivering a baby if we hear that again. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you might say no. You usually do. And also, well, let's cut out the basicallys. At the end of the days, I thought you banned that once, didn't you? And also, you know what I mean? 'Cause no, I don't know what you mean. But I always say that when people say that.
Yes, there's all sorts of things that people say they are tics. Like people will start the sentence with "so," and they do that because they're trying to gather their thought. So it's, yeah, I just did it, but that was justifiable. It wasn't a "so," and then thinking about something to say. But politicians do that a lot because they want to fill the gap so that nobody gets to ask them another question. And other politicians do that by just filling the air with noise.
86%, 5 million, and of course over 50%. And what I'm saying is, an additional 162 million, and that comes, by the way, on top of the 500 million.
Yes, on top of the 500
36
million. It just
billion,
goes on and on
of
and
which
on.
5.4 billion.
Without giving a
probably one of the
moment for anybody to get a word in edgeways.
Over
It's
16,000.
just battering you with this blizzard of statistics. And you think, oh my God, it's never going to end.
2,
3,
11, 1.7 billion, and then a 1.4 billion, 250,000.
Big end coming up.
6 million.
Yes.
Basically 3.1 billion.
Bigger?
Right, now that's a big number.
Huge.
And that's exactly what I'm delivering.
Thanks for delivering. There you go. He was delivering.
Yeah, but you ain't said that bad word yet.
Which one? Dandy?
No, I'm not telling you.
Doldrums?
It's been mentioned once today, and I was screaming at the radio.
It begins with D and ends in Y.
Yeah, they're always saying it. Like it's an excuse. It really bugs me.
I can't think.
Just about everything,
desperately.
And James O'Brien.
Well, tell me, what's the second letter?
Let's think. Well,
the second letter.
If I tell you the second letter, you might get it.
Right. Well, I promise I won't say it.
You will.
I promise I won't say it.
I know you two. What you'll say? It's
Scouts promise. Fingers crossed.
Well, if you say it, I'll scream.
Right then.
Right. The second letter is E.
D. D-E. Desperately.
Yeah. No.
Developmentally.
No.
I don't know. What's the third letter?
You'll have me say it. Let me think.
Tell me.
What's
M?
Yeah, you're gonna. You know it now.
Demonstrably.
Almost.
I bet my glamorous assistant knows. What is it?
I don't know.
He doesn't know either.
Really? They're always saying it like it's an excuse. You're a bit like that horrible word sovereignty. What I really hate that as well. It's another one that's banned, sovereignty. What are they on about? I don't like this here middle class rubbish and working class. We're all the same. We're all equal. I hate all that.
Equal? Well, I think you'll have to think that out again, Dave. Some are more equal than others. I think you'll find. I mean, it's
a state of mind, isn't it?
Well, not really. No, it's the state of the state. I don't think we are all equal. We're not treated equally. That's absolutely true.
I know this.
I can't think of what it is, Dave. I'm failing this test.
I'm surprised. I thought
I'm
you'd get
surprised.
it straight away.
Well, I'm very disappointed in myself.
Well, it looks like you're not going to hear me scream then, doesn't it?
Well, okay, then it's a deal. All right, thanks a lot, Dave. I'll never know. Oh, well. Begins with a D and ends in a Y. I've got no idea. George tweets. Oh, no, I've read that. Gordon said, I've read that. Tim emails. I've read that one. Wow, I am doing very well. Way ahead of schedule. I've got no idea where I'm going, but certainly I'm making excellent time. Mark says, don't wait for the statue. Chuck Boris in the river now. He's all revved up and ready to go. Like an outboard motor. Bill says, even in the 1950s, people rushed to leave the cinema at the end of the film before the national anthem was played. Yeah, I remember that. I mean, like, you couldn't just walk out while it was playing. That was somehow socially unacceptable. You had to actually leave your seats and hurtle to the exit before Shirley Bassey had finished singing Diamonds Are Forever. Forever, forever. Yeah, I do recall that. Going to the cinema used to be weird. You used to be able to smoke on 2/3 of the seats in the cinema, and then across the aisle, where the 1/3 of the seats was the non-smoking section. You know, as though the smoke would actually respect the delineation. Was it delineation you were going for? No, apparently not. Beth Theth, will Trump get extra points for inciting the Capitol riots? You can't make me play that again, Beth. I just won't do it. Oh, democracy. I bet that's the word that he was looking for. My glamorous assistant's just come up with that. Was that your suggestion?
Loads of callers.
Loads of callers. Democracy. See, I can hear him screaming from here. Is it democracy? Is that the word you don't want me to say? Democracy? You don't want me to say democracy? Democracy. 0345 6060 973.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
I really like you. Do you like me?
Yeah, sure, why not? 0345 6060 973. Andrew texts, if they bring back the national anthem, I hope they also bring back the white dot that appeared when you switched off the TV. That was my favourite part. Kids will have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. What you talking about, Grandad? Grandad? Why, you little... You used to switch off the TV. I bet my glamorous assistant has got no idea. Oi!
No idea.
See, you used to switch off the TV, right. And then what used to happen?
Dunno.
See, he doesn't know. He's 12 years old. He used to switch off the TV, and there used to be a sort of like a flash, and then a little white dot, and you used to stare at it and stare at it and stare at it and stare at it and stare at it, and then it would go. And you used to turn on the TV, and you used to have to turn it on about 30 minutes before the programme that you wanted to watch, because it had to warm up. And it wasn't on during the day. Yes, that's right. And it wasn't on all night, and there was only 3 channels.
What?
Exactly. No internet, just books.
Boring.
And they didn't move on a screen. There were no screens. We could only dream of books moving on a screen. Bill says, I only found out yesterday that the government proposes to put the free NHS prescription charge age from 60 to 90. Get lost. Do they? Do they really? That can't be true, is it? Did I miss that this week? I did spend much of this week unconscious because I did 11 shows in a row. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking heroic. You're thinking that is great heroism in action. There, 11 shows in a row. No, you're thinking, nobody could possibly do that. It's perhaps the greatest feat that has ever been achieved by humankind. Somebody should put me on a plinth. So yeah, I've been sort of tuned out this week. That can't possibly be true. They're going to put free prescription charges up from 60 to 90. Why not go all the way? Just say that you've got to actually be dead to avail yourself of this offer. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, good evening,
Jan.
Nick. Hi. Thanks for having me on your show. I think you should be on a plinth somewhere soon for your... I don't know how you do 11 shows, and I'm very much looking forward to having a copy of the A to Z with your commentary and everything. I'm sure it'll be a great read.
Well, I hope it's amusing.
And keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
Maybe that should have been added in there about keeping people happy.
HAPPY.
Yeah, you had it in there.
Yes.
You had it in there.
I'll add it in there.
No, like this next year. Nick, I wanted to come in on this thing. I agree with you about this business about illuminating history rather than rewriting history.
Yeah.
In relation to this, people wanting to destroy these statues or whatever. But I'm coming into this thing because it sort of thrown at me when I was at university as well. This idea about, and it's a big movement. And one of what's called post-colonial history studies, which all the universities offer, like the Warwick University has a very famous department for it, and has a lot of people who, there are people who teach there. A lot of them have it. So, but it's like it's post-colonial history. It is an academic study, to illuminate further and do corrections to things like to cultural. It's cultural, political. It's dealing with colonialism, imperialism, and its consequences for the victims of it.
Right.
And there's a very famous.
That seems a very specific thing to learn, though. To spend 3 or 4 years learning at university. What are you going to do with it?
I think there are. I think it's certain correctives. I mean, for instance, there's some well-known writers like Franz Fanon. He's actually a black historian or scholar or intellectual, rather. He wrote a book called The Wretched of the Earth years ago, and it's from a post-colonial perspective because it's looking into.
Yeah. I mean, I get all that, and I understand that it's a subject that some people would want to educate themselves about. But I find it a bit surprising that you would want to do it for 3 years and get a degree. It's a bit specific, isn't it?
Not in that. They would probably, like James Baldwin, was an English historian who's written it seems like he's written hundreds of books on. Looking at history, post-colonial history, critically. He's got loads of them. I was just looking at them online. I actually thought he was a black historian, but he isn't. He's a British.
Yeah, I don't know what point you're making anymore. Listen to me. You started this by saying that universities are trying to teach post-colonial history, but it seems like I'll reiterate my point that it seems a bit specific to do as a degree.
No, I'll tell you what it is like. You must have heard of Stuart Hall, the Jamaican British theorist. He died in not that long ago, but he was well known on TV.
Not necessarily knew anything of the sort. I know another Stuart Hall entirely.
It's called. They also call it critical theory. It's a study of politics, culture, communication, media, race.
Right, but what's your point, though, Jan?
My point is that. Yeah, but there's a whole big area of actually academic study.
A great big melting pot.
No, not a melting pot.
Big enough.
But it's like there's like Stuart Hall wrote what's looked at as a Bible.
But I'm still searching for a point. What's your point?
My point is that history is being illuminated
all the time. History is opinion. History is opinion, just like everything else is opinion. History is not solid. It's not in concrete. It's not immovable. It's not unrewritable.
Well, I think there's a whole movement, especially influenced by the States, of black scholars writing history from a black perspective.
Well, I think they should.
Which is a bit different from post-colonial because it involves all different races writing about it, not just black studies.
Okay. Right. Yeah? I'm still a little bit lost as to what it is that you're saying, but other than
I'm just saying the way that you mentioned about history isn't being rewritten; it's being illuminated.
Yes.
Well, I'm just narrowing it down to this aspect that's all going on all around British universities.
Okay.
It isn't that it's actually an academic study of post-colonial history.
Right, okay, right. Again, what I was saying was that tearing a statue down is not rewriting history. Telling people how the money came to be acquired to build mansions and have Capability Brown tart up your lawn. That's not rewriting history. It's illuminating it. It's making it available to people that might not be interested in reading the books that you've just described. But if you give it to them on a leaflet, and on the back of it, it tells you when the tea room is open, then that seems like a positive thing to me. In fact, it seems to be precisely what the National Trust and English Heritage and all of those organisations should be doing. Of course, you want to know a bit about the place that you're going to. I mean, it's a nice day out, and you go and have a sandwich and a cup of tea, and you stroll around the gardens, and you look at the architecture, and you look at the plasterwork on the ceiling and the big hall inside, and you think, wow, nobody builds stuff like this anymore. It must have cost a fortune. And it crosses your mind, how did they make so much money, this family that have been passing their fortunes down for hundreds of years, and still maintain the money and the power and the influence in their family? How did it come about, you curiously ask yourself? And just a paragraph or two on a pamphlet that they give out when you pay your £12.50 to go and mooch about their parterre, that doesn't seem unreasonable. In fact, it seems precisely the sort of thing that they should be doing. Education, innit? Not rewriting it, it's the opposite of that. Plus, it seems a bit rich for Bodger to be moaning about people rewriting history. He rewrites history the second it's happened. No, I did not have any parties over at my place. No, I didn't know who was paying for my to refurbish my flat to make it look like a Maharaja's knocking shop. No, I didn't know who was paying for my villa abroad in some sunny location. He rewrites history practically as it's happening. Yeah, it was a cheese and wine party. Right. I'd only believe that if cheese and wine was a new street name for ecstasy.
I'm on about 3 or 4 cheese and wines a day now, man. But I can handle it. I just can't stop dancing at the moment, that's all.
0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. I've got to share this Rishi Sunak thing with you, though. I mean, I felt physically ill just reading it, and I'll share that with you in moments.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yes, the old bag is right. Well, I've just looked up that NHS prescription charges thing, and ominously enough, the government is looking into it.
Oh,
no. It says in the eye here, raising the upper age exemption for charges on prescriptions in England from 60 to 66, in line with the state pension age, they say will be a disaster for tens of thousands of people who may face a new barrier to accessing their vital medicines. Well, you know, the money is concentrated in the hands of the old in this country. If you're sitting in £1 million house and you've got a pension which is pouring cash up to your eyeballs, then why should poorer people pay for your prescriptions? I mean, it's not like it's very much, is it? I'm fully on board with those that can't afford it to get freebies. But, you know, some pensioners are they're doing very, very well. £9.35, apparently, each. You tell that to an American, and they'll burst into tears. Yeah, any pill you like is £9.35. You sell that to an American who's just put a second mortgage on their house and they sold their car because their doctor has prescribed them something that they can't afford. That costs £780 a pill, and they're cutting the pills in half, and they're skipping days. And yet, I'm absolutely convinced of it that that's where the regime wants to take us. Not to Europe, because that's socialist medicine. No! We don't want any of that. No, we want American medicine, where, only the rich survive. Those that have get more. Those that don't get nothing. Good day, sir. You lose. Richmond. Hello, Phil.
Hi, Nicky. I started off calling about democracy because that guy was on, and I sort of nailed what he was saying.
Nicky?
But then I thought, sorry, Nick. I always call you Nicky. I call every Nick Nicky.
Well, don't.
But this guy, this guy who calls up a bit, he's ashamed to use the word democracy.
Democracy. Yeah, I can hear him screaming from here. Democracy.
Yeah. It was like the N word to him. He didn't want to mention it.
The D word.
What have we become when you can't use the word democracy in the UK?
No, I don't think
I
don't think he was offended by the word. I think he was offended by the amount of times that people in the regime mention it when also trying their very best to take democracy off us.
Yeah, all right. Could I tell you what I was really calling about?
Oh, there's something else? Sure, why not?
Oh yes, because people don't seem to realise that here. If you look at foreign countries in the world, they get registered as failed states. Now, the UK is a failed state, in my opinion, because the last 2 years, this country has gone totally down the tubes.
Yeah.
Basically because of Brexit, because of one man.
Well, because of one individual more than Brexit, I'd say.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I mean, Brexit, we always knew where Brexit was going, or those that thought about it for 10 seconds without, wrapping themselves in the flag and gazing adoringly at pictures of Her Majesty the Queen.
Exactly. So I consider this a failed state. I'm 75, Nick, and
75
I've never seen
years
this
old.
Country. Oh, 75, right. But I've never, thank you, I've never seen this country in such bad shape.
No.
I mean, it's embarrassing. We're a laughing stock everywhere in the world.
Yeah, fortunately, Donald Trump is now not the president of the United States or unfortunately rather, and now we have reached the absolute toppermost of the countries that are the laughing stock of the planet.
Oh, shut up! And Johnson keeps saying, like today, and Javid says, oh, we're way ahead of everyone on vaccinations and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but that's untrue. Yeah,
it's
completely untrue.
We're behind.
Incorrect in every respect.
I follow this as you do. We're way behind Western Europe on vaccinations. We started off well because we pushed through an unsafe vaccination.
Well, they took a chance. Yeah, they took a chance, and
they took a chance.
And essentially it went well because. Because
we were first.
No, vitally, Boris Johnson and his then the current catastrophic clown show that he's running over there got out of the way.
Yeah,
that's why
exactly.
It went well. It's because they had nothing to do with it. They left it to the professionals.
Exactly. Could I say one last thing, Nick?
Okay.
On the question of history and illuminating or rewriting, I see it this way. History is mobile, right? It moves every day. Today, your show now, tomorrow will be history. When Shakespeare wrote his plays, he wrote them on the day. Now they're historical. History moves. It's mobile. That's my point. It's rather than your word illuminating, which is fair enough, it's mobile. It's not history, then the present, then the future.
Wow, you're blowing my mind. It's just like time travel.
Well, it's true.
Right. Okay, well, leave us with that thought, Phil, and I'll cogitate it for a while, whatever that means. History changes all the time based on who it is that's speaking about it. It's opinion. That's all. 0345 6060 973. I mean, people have the opinion that we won the Second World War. And you would get that opinion from all of those patriotic black and white British films with dogs, the name of which we're not allowed to say. Those films. But it ain't necessarily so. Apparently somebody has edited my Wikipedia page to say that I have a tail. Is that true?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I do actually have a tail. It's prehensile. Andrew texts, if they bring back the national anthem... Oh, no, I've read that. About the white dot. I miss the white dot. God, you used to have to turn the radio on about 10 minutes before before the show that you wanted to listen to came on. The radiogram. Remember those things? It was a piece of furniture the size of a car that sat in the corner of the room. I used to have to get up at 6:30 in the morning, about an hour before I needed to get up to go to school, to listen to Kenny and Cash on the radio. Capital Radio. Used to turn it on about, I'd rush to the radio to turn it on. And then, of course, you can't put the radio to your ear. You've got to put your ear to the radio, because it's this huge immovable object in the living room. And I sat there with my ear to one part of, to the left speaker, because you couldn't turn it up, because I don't know why. Why couldn't I turn it up? I don't know. Didn't feel right. Didn't want to disturb the neighbours with Kenny and Cash. Anyway, that is also history, which I'm not rewriting. I'm illuminating it for you. So there's the information there, Bill. He says, I only found out yesterday that the government proposes to put free NHS prescription charges from 60 to 90. Well, that ain't necessarily so. They probably would if they thought they could get away with it, but unfortunately for them, their voters are between 60 and 90, so they'd be disinclined to shock them in that manner. If you took away the voters between 60 and 90, then we would not have left the European Union, and Jezza Corbyn would be our current Prime Minister. That's actually true. So think about that, kids, for a while. Oh, I want to talk about Keir Starmer as well. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. He's worth a show all on his own. Isn't he doing well?
No.
0345 6060 973. Woolwich. Hello, Richard.
Oh, from Woolwich. Yes, me. Hello,
Richard.
Nick. Nick, I bought the book today, and I read it. It's brilliant. I think it really reflected well the marathon sessions you had over the New Year. I have a question though.
Yes.
Because on New Year's Eve, I was running around London trying to find a firework display. So I didn't get to hear anything about the XYZ.
Oh.
And you've got Zoo Goat on there, and I don't know what the hell that is.
I've got what?
Zoom Goat.
Zoo Goat.
Under Z.
Is that all it says?
Yeah. Well, it says animal for hire or online meetings make farmer 50,000.
Not zoo. Zoom.
Zoom. Yes. It's
Zoom Goat. Yeah. Some farmer. See, this is one of those delicious stories that comes and goes, and sort of when you look back at the year, there's just so much misery. There's so much, like fighting and negativity, but it was dotted with these little charming little lights of delight, and that's what I tried to put in the book to remind everybody that it wasn't all bad. But yeah, there was this farmer who owned a goat, and she put it up for hire for people on Zoom meetings so that they could be represented as a goat. and she made tens of thousands of pounds. Isn't that great?
That's a funny story. Oh my God. Nick, can I just quickly say contribute to the Colston debate?
Yes.
Because it's annoying me, and it's annoyed me most of the day. And you've had people on your show even tonight defending Colston on the grounds that he was part of a tradition where slavery was acceptable. And I just want to speak to that because that's not true. I mean, even Shakespeare wrote The Tempest, which was all about the slavery question. The slavery question was really rife during the 17th, as it was in the 18th century. And Colston was obviously a merchant, and he was a Tory member of Parliament. And the idea that he was not aware of these ongoing discussions about slavery is a nonsense.
I think that people... It's not as complicated as people are making out. The right-wing foamers who are fulminating about this statue thing couldn't care less about the statue. They don't care about Colston or anything like that. It's just that it's the left have won something in their eyes, and so they're angry about that. If they'd all gone to jail, then they would have been perfectly satisfied and wouldn't really have insisted that the statue go back up, because they'd never heard of this bloke in the first place. They don't care about that. It's just a left-right thing. It's just how to make our fans angry. That's what the government is doing with this culture war nonsense. Thanks, Richard.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello, boys.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. 0345 6060 973. Jim texts, how about we take the remaining statues of those who profited from slavery, chain them together in the hold of a cargo ship. Each time one of them falls over, it should be thrown into the sea, just like the slaves who got sick or died. Well, that's not a happy text, but is true. Sheila texts, I think if the Tories are so definite that actions have consequences, the ones that voted against further COVID restrictions should be in our hospitals helping. They should be prepared to roll up their sleeves instead of the army. Yeah, or Nanny could roll up their sleeves for them. Nanny. Honestly, have you ever in your life seen anyone who looks so pleased with themselves? 0345 6060 973. Western Supermare. Hello, Gary.
Hello.
Gary.
Is that me?
It sounds like you.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to say that they threw the statue in the river, right? Not because they wanted to change history, but because they wanted to change the attitudes of the people in the future. And they wanted to do something that was going to make such an impact that nobody would be able to ignore it. And it had exactly that effect. It affected the whole planet, with everybody in all different countries all throwing statues down, putting statues down. And I think it's a good thing. It would have been a bad thing if they'd been convicted, because the people that would have been glad would have been the people what really don't actually disagree with all of the things that happened, like the aristocracy.
Yeah, I don't think it goes even that deep. I think that the people, if they had been convicted, then the people who would have been glad would have just been those on that side of this phony culture war. I refuse to believe that people have actually thought deeply about the actual issues involved. They just got angry because a bunch of long hairs have pulled one over on them. Thanks, Gary. 0345 6060 973. I just think that that's what it is. Oh, with the other side, they won that one. So they're angry about it. I mean, they're not angry that this figure that they have revered for, their entire lives, this Colston chap who is at the very toppermost of their thoughts at all times, that they pulled this statue down to this person who they admire. They'd never heard of him before. They're just upset because the Liberals have won one. That's it. Alex says, perhaps a slightly facetious viewpoint, but I don't think it was criminal damage. It wasn't just 4 people. There were tens of thousands of people there that day. The statue belonged to the City of Bristol. The City of Bristol pulled it down. Well, you know what? I think that if you're going to put a statue up, or if you're going to maintain a statue on a plinth that's already there, then you should put it to the people. I mean, if Bodger is right, that it should be a democratic decision, then you have to actually allow people to vote on it. Otherwise, there ain't no democracy. Just accepting the ruling of the regime is not democratic. You can't insist that it can only be pulled down by democratic means and then refuse to allow people to vote on it. I mean, that's ridiculous. Talk about catch-22. So, let's all vote. Why not? That'll get the kids out voting. I want to talk about Keir Starmer as well. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. he is in desperate need of people to vote for him, or to even consider voting for him and his moribund party. And I just don't think he's going the right way about it. I mean, how long should the Labour Party wait before they decide whether he's got it or not? Anybody think he's got it? Sue texts, I have found it on Amazon and ordered it. Looking forward to receiving it, says Sue. It. What it, Sue? Oh, my book. Well, I'm glad that you're happy just in anticipation. Daniel tweets, I just purchased here's another one, the 2021 A to Z off Amazon Canada for $8.17.
What?
How much? Fair price and looking forward to reading it, says Daniel. Yeah, I was all last year writing, as the months went by, a little précis of what happened during the course of that month, with a view to, I can't quite believe that I got my act together all year long to actually do that as it went round. Because if you wait to the end of the year, then there's no way you remember stuff like, insignificant little stories that came and went, but were delightful and perked up your day. So it's quite nice to remember what happened. And that's what I've done. I'll say it one more time. It's the book of the A to Z of 2021, which we did over Christmas and New Year. And again, thanks for all of the suggestions and the people that were calling and texting and emailing and so on. Way more than we've ever had before. It was absolutely overwhelming. I can remember I started this such a long time ago, and I thought, gosh, this is a really good idea. Because I'm doing the shows over Christmas and New Year, and that's when there's no news at all, nothing to talk about. And I'll be doing, I think one year I did 17 shows in a row. I might be rewriting history there, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And so I thought, what the hell am I going to talk about? And then this idea came to me. It's the only good idea I've ever had. I'll get people to call in with the A to Zs. And, at first they trickled in, first year. And then it became a larger wave. And it was an absolute blooming tsunami this year, with the phones virtually exploded. So, again, appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you follow me on Twitter, I'll point you in the right direction. Jerry texts, let's put Colston's statue on the Antiques Roadshow and see what Fiona has to say. That would make fab TV. Yeah, get Fiona on the case. That's a good idea. I bet it's worth £1 million. Hey, I've just seen that the V&A have got a Fabergé exhibition, and on the poster is that thing that I think some army types brought in that one day. It's about the size of a packet of fags. And it was, it looks like flowers in water. Tiny, tiny little thing. And the bloke that I really like on there always goes on about Fabergé. And he said, I think he said something like, and it's a towering work it's an incredible work of towering genius. And it's worth £1 million. And that's the bingo number. That's what you want to hear. £1 million. I've only ever heard that twice on that show. And the other one was for the Anthony Gormley model of the Angel of the North. Anthony Blooming Gormley is another copy of my body.
Boring.
Talk about one note. Islington, hello, Noel.
Hello.
Noel.
I'm back.
It's you.
Yes, the A to Z guy. Anyway, that lady that talk about universities, and I don't know what point she was trying to make.
No, I don't.
Enlightened history. We're not rewriting history. We're just trying to get people to tell the truth. Like, I went to school with 1,800 boys. 1,800 boys. I left school not knowing a lot of things about colonialism. All right? For instance, Barbados was colonized by the English, not the British. St. Kitts, Antigua, Nevis, Montserrat, and Jamaica. Britain didn't come into existence till 1707. So we were going around saying Britain did this and Britain. Then the first 6 colonies in the West Indies was English, and they even stole Wales in 1535.
Yeah, if it happened and it was bad and it had something to do with the United Kingdom, then it was pretty much, definitely and totally the English what done it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It was a fact. You know, because the colonies were set up by England, and England joined with Scotland, and they'd already nicked Wales in 1535, and they created what became Union of the Kingdoms, which we morphed into Great Britain, isn't it?
Well, I'm sorry, but this is starting to sound like a history lesson, and already my mind is wandering, yearning for lunch.
Yeah, but the thing is, you, in order to look at this issue, you have to go back. Like, for instance, once at school, I was taught that the Caribs were cannibals and they kill and they eat the Arawaks. I was Bajan. When I went to university, I discovered that was not so. The Arawaks was exterminated in Barbados by the English.
Okay, this is beginning to sound even more like a history lesson.
Yeah, and we are not rewriting history. We're just trying to get history told as it actually happened.
Like I said, it's illuminating it. It's not rewriting it. There's no such thing as rewriting history. History is rewritten all the time. It's opinion. It's from the viewpoint of where you are at any one time.
And I agree with you, but Boris Johnson was out of order when he's saying that people are trying to rewrite history.
Well,
he justified people booing at the English team for taking a knee. Him and Priti Patel, innit? Yeah?
What I find interesting about that, by the way, is that, and this would be another thing that the culture warriors must be furious about, is that people have stopped booing them for doing that. They just applaud now. That whole thing just came and went, and it's like it sort of dissipated on the wind like a bad smell. Nobody boos them anymore. You notice that?
Yeah, yes. It's like Omicron. It'll soon be gone, isn't it?
Well, let's hope so, yeah. All right, thanks, Noel. 0345 6060 973. I didn't learn anything about slavery or anything like that in history lesson because, apart from anything else, I just couldn't stand history. I got no memory at all. And history is it's just a memory test. All those dates and names. Ugh. So, I mean, I don't even really want to watch a film about historical events. Never mind read a book about them. So, but I do know that when they say they're rewriting history, what they mean is that you're telling them something that they don't want to hear that happens to be true. And I don't believe that the right wing on this issue are remotely interested in the issue at hand. They just want to get one over on the libs. They just want to own the liberals. That's it. Same as in America, same thing. Whatever the issue, it's the detail of it is irrelevant as long as it upsets the other side. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Nick Abbot on LBC.
Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us.
Yes, your call is important to us. Mike in East Yorkshire.
Hi, Nick. Firstly, what's the official title? I'm not on Twitter. So what's the official title of your A to Z thing for this year?
It's the Ups and Downs, the Cheese and Wine of 2021.
Sorted. I can pass that on to my daughter and she'll order it for me. That's brilliant.
Okay.
One thing two little things I've got. One is I feel really sorry for Lord Geit. Not that I love the posh ones, but he had a great career, highly regarded.
Was he?
Yeah, he worked
for doing what though?
He
worked for the Queen. But does that involve? He was the chief hem sniffer. He was the secretary. Take a letter.
Yeah, but he was a respected guy, and as soon as you come into contact with Bodger, you are contaminated. He's now in a position where he either outright calls him a liar without any evidence, or he's sat there with everyone going, yeah, we know it all happened, but you've just passed it off.
Doesn't make the slightest bit of difference to him or anybody in his orbit. He's a lord, he's a baron, for crying out loud. He's got way too many names. You know what his actual names are? Christopher Edward Wollaston Mackenzie Geit. I mean, that's at least 2 names too many. Baron Geit, GCB, GCVO, OBE, QSO, PC, FKC. I think that last one is something rude about Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, something like that. But I do feel sorry for people that come in contact with Bodger and get contaminated, so I would say, and dragged into it. But the other thing I don't fall out with you very often, but one thing I do want to fall out with you about is democracy, because Bristol Council voted 3 times on whether the statue should be removed or not, and that was elected councillors voted it down. And if it was such a huge issue, democracy would indicate that people would stand as candidates for the council on the issue of pulling the thing down.
No. Too small an issue. I mean, people are worried about their bins being changed, the potholes in the roads and the street lights, and there's way more important things for people to be concerned about. You can't run on such a small issue. No. You can give it to the people to decide. Better.
Well, but you can't, because our democratic system is that you do it the other way. But my personal opinion is they should have been found guilty and let off with conditional discharges, no penalty, because that keeps all your ducks in a row. The law's been followed. If another statue gets pulled down, then people will know they will get convicted.
But they know they're going to get convicted. This doesn't set a precedent for anything. And we didn't hear all of the evidence that the jury heard. So we're not privy to all of the facts that went by them. All the evidence, all the opinions that were, put forth in court. We didn't hear any of that. So us pontificating about whether it was or was not right is neither here nor there.
No, but it's like Ponting when he released the official secrets about the sinking of the Belgrano. He got found not guilty when he admitted to handing over official secrets. And that's where the law gets strange, because if you do something that is a breach of the law, you should get found guilty. If it's justifiable, you should get no punishment. But the law has to be the law, Nick.
No, well, the law is that somebody gets tried by a jury, and the jury decides. That's what the law is. You can't say, well, it's okay as long as the decision is something that I agree with, and if it's not, then it's against the law.
As a jury, you take an oath. And your oath is to confirm the facts. And that's part of the oath.
Right.
So the facts were they pulled it down, which according to the law is then an act of criminal damage. So you can't decide the law, you decide the facts.
Which is what they did. I don't really understand your point here. You're saying that it wasn't the decision that you wanted. Well, that's irrelevant. It was a decision made under the correct law, which is that they get the issue is decided upon by a jury. That's that. It's whatever the jury comes up with. You can't say, well, we'll decide it by a jury, but the jury has to do what I say.
Well, no, but then at some point, this is why there's going to be an inquiry into it to see whether the judge acted reasonably. Please. And whether judges can...
There's going to be an inquiry into it because the government are embarrassed. They wanted the decision to go one way because they want to, kid on that they're the party of law and order. Well, pretty much every single one of them breaks multiple laws on a daily basis.
And should be punished for them.
Yeah, but Absolutely. They won't, though. There'll be another investigation into their cheese and wine party, and they will come to the conclusion of not guilty.
Something must be done.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Lessons must be learned is, I think, what you were searching for there. Tariq tweets, the law and justice are not the same thing. Well, that's true. Stephen says, I'm listening to your show and I'm very impressed. My dog, however, seems to think differently. Your dog's an idiot, Stephen. I mean that in the nicest possible way. Let's have Kinmore Bay, North Wales. Hello, Linda.
Oh, hi, Nick. Lovely to speak to you.
Linda.
Just a little point about flip-flops, Fishy Sunak.
Fishy Sunak, yeah.
I can't pronounce his name. The thing that I can't take him seriously for many reasons, really.
Yeah.
But every time I see him, I just think, in the 80s Spitting Image, when they used to have David Owen and David Steele, I just see the David Steele puppet that's in David Owen's top pocket.
Yes.
It's just, if you look at them both side by side, that's all I see.
Now you've put that image in my mind. I won't be able to get it out. He does look like a sock puppet.
He just does. They look like robots or some kind of Spitting Image puppets.
Well, Dominic Raab looks like a tetchy, angular humanoid. That's absolutely true. He does look a bit robotic.
Affirmative.
There's something fearful in those eyes, isn't there, really?
Yeah, there's nothing behind those eyes whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no emotion of any kind apart from tetchiness. That seems to be what makes him function. But Dominic, Fishy Sunak, he does look like a sock puppet, like Shari Lewis would be operating him. Oh, Linda, what have you done to me?
Oh, you're welcome, Nick. You're welcome.
All right, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, I want to talk about Fishy Sunak. I think there's some sections of the press who are just rubbing their hands in glee that Fishy might be taken over from you-know-who soon.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
Yeah, sure you did. Sure you did. I followed the ministerial guidance at all times, he smirked. The regime is so confident that they're just getting away with it that they can smirk in your face while telling you the opposite of what's true. As though to say, yeah, what are you going to do about it? Oh, the polls have closed, by the way. I mean, just for a brief moment there, Keir Starmer, Sir Keir, had an 8-point gap between him and you-know-who. Yeah, but that polling has shifted dramatically. Why? No idea. It's like scooping water. You scoop water and you might fashion a gap between waves, but the moment you stop scooping, the waves meet again. Does that make sense? Almost, but not quite. Better luck next time. Yeah, they've closed again for I've got no idea because people have got used to his partying. The revelations don't surprise us anymore. He's doing his best, or words to that effect. They've shut again. The big door has closed, Sir Keir. You had your chance, a little ray of sunshine between the two parties, and now that's over. And so he's busy trying to position himself as completely different from the Conservative Party. Totally removed, not in any way, shape or form similar to the Conservatives. The Labour Party under Sir Keir, how's that going, by the way?
Fabulous.
Yeah, not that great. People have still got no idea. So I might talk about him in a minute as well. Or I might leave it till tomorrow. It probably deserves a bit longer than just the half an hour I've got left. But I could talk about Fishy, though. Oh, God, did you see that thing that they wrote about him in the Mail? I'm still feeling ill. I read it this afternoon. I'm still feeling queasy. A little bit bilious.
Stop whining.
0345 6060 973. It's 12:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Zora Solomon.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
Mike texts, could you get one of those bright young things who help you out each week to mix Avanapar with the delightful Carol saying cheese and what cheese and wine?
What?
Cheese and wine. Bright young things? I ain't got no bright young things. It's just me. I'm a bright young thing. Graham texts, I am sad that the Festival of Brexit was cancelled. I was looking forward to seeing modern romance feeding pickled onion monster munch to each other while pouring beef gravy on a bulldog's head as it howled Rule Britannia to an inflatable Kevin Costner dressed as Nelson holding a massive Harry Potter wand to a soundtrack of Mr. Numbers Man. Gutted. Wow, that's very complicated there, Graham. You lost me at modern romance. They are having some sort of thing, aren't they? But they're not calling it the Festival of Brexit anymore because... how's Brexit going?
Brexit's going great.
Even though Brexit's going great, they're still not going to call it that. All mention of the B word has been cancelled. It is forbidden. Under punishment of death. James says, maybe we should bring back CFAX. Wow. Now, just pause and think about that for a minute. CFAX. I bet if you gave CFAX, if you took a kid's computer away, their phone and their tab, well, first of all, I mean, even if they're 20, they'd sound like that. But if you made them negotiate all of the information that they wanted on CFAX, then see the look on their faces. Somebody should do that as a TV show. Take teenagers' phones away from them and make them look up stuff like old people used to have to do. CFAX. Oh, God, that was terminal. But I can remember it like it was yesterday. Looking up flight times on CFAX. The flight would have landed. The people would have got out, they'd have got their luggage, and they'd be waiting for a cab by the time you find out when it's arriving. Phil tweets, don't throw Boris in the Thames, it's polluted enough. Well, that's offensive. And Gordon says, do you remember Rowan Atkinson running his finger around a bowl of water to create the after close-down tone on Not the 9 O'Clock News? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Made millions and millions and millions of pounds by not saying anything. What a racket, eh? Okay, here it is. Get ready. Grip onto something firm. Okay, here's the headline, and this tells you everything you need to know about what's coming underneath the line, underneath the headline. Ruggedly elegant Rishi. That's how it starts, with an exclamation mark. Chancellor dons a very, capital very, trendy 795 brown Reese shearling jacket. Oh, I don't like brown. £795?
What?
For a jacket? He donned it to go ice skating with his daughter at the Natural History Museum. Bullet points. Rishi Sunak cut an elegant figure as he donned £795 Reese shearling jacket today. Opted for the trendy coat as he stepped out ice skating with his daughter. Stylists previously revealed how Rishi adopted expensive luxe uniform for role. Politician often wears £160 handcrafted shirts and bespoke navy suits. Wife Akshata Murthy, one of India's richest men... Oh... Yeah, I thought... What? No, daughter of one of India's richest men, runs a fashion label. Isn't it also giddyingly exciting?
No.
Isn't he an absolute dream?
Negative.
This is vomitous stuff. Rishi Sunak proved he remains the fashion king of the Commons today as he donned a trendy £795 Reese shearling jacket to go ice skating with his daughter at the Natural History Museum. Now, how did they know that he was going to be there? I mean, because there's pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures. There's hardly any room on the internet. They got so many pictures of Fishy Sunak dreamily skating at the Natural History Museum. How did they know he was going to be there? Same reason that starlets get their pictures when they're on the beach. How did the photographers know that they were going to be there? Because they told them they were going to be there. Same way that stars get photographed coming out of restaurants. How did the photographer know that the star was in the restaurant? Because their PR person phoned up the newspaper and told them. It goes on. Gets worse. Be warned. The politician, dubbed Dishy Rishi by his female fans, has been in the role of Chancellor for 2 years, which has seen his profile soar from a relatively unknown minister to one of the nation's most recognisable politicians, with the help of a well-oiled PR operation. Oh, it's oiled, all right. I think most of the oil ended on his hair.
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
The multimillionaire has also become renowned for his trendy fashion sense. Does he seem trendy to you?
No.
Trendy? That's about the least trendy thing to say about anyone. Trendy. I mean, you might as well say he's with it and hip. Trendy. The multimillionaire has also become renowned for his trendy fashion sense, with Rishi splashing the cash on expensive tailors to fit both his slim-fitting shirts and navy suit trousers that finish well above the ankle. What, you mean they don't fit? Why do his suit trousers finish well above the ankle? He's not a teenager. Has he grown out of them?
No.
And today's outing for the MP was no different, with Rishi wearing a camel jacket described online as ruggedly elegant and was inspired by classic trucker styles. Does he look remotely like a trucker to you?
No.
No. Not even slightly. Could he see over the steering wheel? According to its online description, it is crafted in premium shearling with contrasting silver-tone fastenings and provides a strong foundation to every look and will transcend the seasons. Can you believe this stuff? Rishi opted to wear the cool jacket with a cream knit jumper and a pair of dark-wash jeans for the occasion. Stylists previously told female, because this is the part of the paper that it's in, female. And by the way, I'd be offended if I were a female and I was subjected to the magazines that come with the Sunday papers, you know, the supplements. The ones that are aimed at men are all doing things. They're all climbing and yomping and driving cars and fixing things and banging nails and screwing one thing into another, so to speak. And the women's magazines are all, what moisturiser should I be wearing this season? And what do your boots say about your personality? Oh my God, it's so insipid. Why do you put up with it, women? How to spice up your love life with pasta. You know, God. Why do they... I mean, it just seems so ancient that why are they still doing that? But they do. All of the papers, they always have a female supplement. All the men's are about travel and about conquering things and getting things done. And the female ones are about, oh, is my eyeshadow right for my bag? You know, God. Why do you put up with it, women? Why do women write that stuff? Anyway, stylists previously told female that 5'6" Sunak, who often shares photos wearing upmarket athletic wear from ethical labels and trendy Barber jackets, uses clever tricks to elongate his body. Celebrity stylist Lucas Armitage revealed politicians are not known for possessing the greatest wardrobes, yet Rishi is always extremely well presented. Yeah, officially well presented if you ask me. Lucas also said the Chancellor's wife, Akshata Murthy, daughter of one of India's richest men, runs a fashion label and can no doubt offer advice to the MP about his sense of style and tailoring. Lucas revealed, it's important to note Rishi's wife is the daughter of a fashion mogul, so access to bespoke tailors wouldn't be an issue. Yeah, you don't have to be the daughter of a fashion mogul to access bespoke tailors. You just have to pay the bill. Before entering politics, Mr. Sunak studied at the £42,000 a year Winchester College and later at Oxford University. Well, blimey, didn't they all? During his time in business, he worked in California, India and Britain for various investment firms, including Goldman Sachs. He's a banker! Bill! He later set up his own hedge fund, Thalim Partners, in 2010 with an initial fund of £536 million.
What?
What? While building the hedge fund, he spent a couple of days doing voluntary work for the Conservatives, which was when he decided to go into politics full time. He did voluntary work for the Conservative Party? Wasn't there anyone richer that he could have done voluntary work for?
No.
The Chancellor showed that he isn't immune to the occasional gaffe today, after he was pictured taking a heavy tumble at an ice rink. To make matters worse, his fall was cushioned by his own daughter. With Mr. Sunak, 41, landing on top of the unfortunate young girl while on a family day out at the Natural History Museum in London. First rule of banking, always have someone else to land on to break your fall. Have you ever in your life heard anything as vomitous as that? I mean, the Daily Mail is practically head over heels in love. Isn't he absolutely perfect in every way? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. I should remind you at this moment that this show is available as a podcast almost the moment that it is finished. Yeah, we take the ads and the news out, which means it takes less time to listen to, which means it costs less electricity to listen to, which also means that you won't have to sell your children to pay your fuel bill. You're welcome. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. Nick Abbott, the whole show.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late!
Somebody just texted, why is it that people are tweeting the pictures of the inside of Bodger's car? I don't know, but I just looked it up on the World Wide Web, and oh my God, would you look at that? Now, this is a story from a couple of years ago. That's absolutely awful. It looks like a skip with wheels. Boris Johnson's car, pictured looking in a state as piles of rubbish litter the seats and the footwells. And piles is not an exaggeration. I don't know why the people are picturing it now, unless these are new pictures, because I'm just looking at this in the super Soaraway. Clothes are seen strewn across the back seats. The upholstery is smeared with mud. That's not mud. Discarded water bottles and empty coffee cups are chucked on the floor. A cardboard box appears to be full of garbage, including an empty box of luxury Dutch cheese crackers. Oh, I can only dream of enjoying a luxury Dutch cream cracker. And a discarded supermarket ready meal tub. A discarded supermarket ready meal tub. I've honestly never seen a car in a worse state than this. What's this bloke like? I mean, no wonder this country's in a state. I tell you what it looks like. It looks like one of those... somebody, like a hoarder, will die, and some SWAT team from the council will go in and try to dig their way in through the front door, through, like 6 foot of rubbish that fills the entire place. This is what it looks like. Wow. This is a bloke who's had everything done for him his whole life. Always somebody to come and pick up after him. I am offended. I hadn't seen this story before. This is from 2019, 18th of June 2019. Among the books pictured on the floor of his Toyota Previa family car includes one titled Britain Unchanged, co-authored by Angular Tetchy Humanoid Dominic Deckchair Raab. The children's comic by Belgian cartoonist Tintin, titled Le Lotus Bleu, is crammed between the seats. Another children's book is lying under another piece of clothing, a Sports Direct bag for life. Why would anybody need one of those? Holds a pair of walking boots, and an IKEA bag contains more junk while receipts are littered all over the floor. This guy's a catastrophe. Look it up. I mean, you've never seen anything like it in your life. But I don't know why people are tweeting it now, unless they've got new shots. I have no idea. I don't know. Somebody is bound to. I bet the internet knows. Perth. Hello, Mike.
Hi. Good evening, or good morning. Listen, I was listening to your comments about the Chancellor, and he's fair game for that. But I thought you were a bit out of order, I would say, when you started laughing because the Chancellor fell on his young daughter. Yeah, you can laugh again, but I didn't think that that was particularly funny.
No, nothing funny about that at all. No. Oh, he slammed the phone down. Not the answer he was hoping for. He wanted me to be rueful.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
Nobody was hurt in the photographing of that fall, as far as I'm aware. Don't worry about it, mate. Relax. Everything's fine. This text says, because he said his flat was a bit of a tip. Oh, that's right. Yeah. His flat wasn't a bit of a tip. His flat was just fine. It was just middle-class taste, which, by the way, most of the people in this country can only dream of. It was Theresa May's taste, wasn't it? It was David Cameron's taste, which is basically like John Lewis came over and threw up in there. But that's not good enough for the bodger. Goodness me, no. He's not used to being around people that have to buy their own furniture. Poor. That's very non-you. And if you are going to buy your own furniture, don't. Have somebody else do it on your behalf. An interior designer. I mean, I'm sure that she does excellent work. It's just that I haven't seen any of it. I've seen pictures of some of the stuff that she's put together, and my eyes are still hurting just remembering it. I can't imagine why anybody would pay her to come in and fix it. I'd pay her to leave. Just don't touch anything. I'll give you anything. I'll give you any amount you want. Sue emails, if any of these offensive statues still remain, why not stick them in a museum and replace them with statues of people involved in the anti-slavery movement, such as William Wilberforce? Or how about we just stop putting people on plinths? I mean, how many statues does a place need, crying out loud? I mean, just yards away from a square that is festooned with statues, only one of which anybody can remember. The bloke on the big column, Nelson. We all know who he was. But if your life depended on it, unless you're one of these historical obsessives or you just got an excellent memory, I bet you couldn't remember one single person who's on another plinth in Trafalgar Square. The nation's square. Of course not. Lee tweets, what's the point of the national anthem? The monarchy have showed us all how out of touch they are, knighting Blair. Well, it is the only one that's in... Well, not the only one, of course. But it is the one that is totally and specifically in her gift. That's why so many members of her immediate family have acquired that funny title and badge. Oh, and the garter that goes with it, which is an actual real thing that men have to wear, I think, just below the knee. Because, that's not silly. And then they parade around in a velvet cape with feathers in their hat and like they've just covered themselves in glue and run through Harrods haberdashery department. They parade up the street looking like an aristocrat's curtains. How utterly ridiculous. And What's-it, out of Charles and What's-it, just got it for being Mummy's little Precious's wife. Other countries must be looking at us and just, even Brazil is looking at us going, what's going on over there? Rod text, why is it that people are tweeting pictures of the inside of Bodger's car, I wonder? Well, there it is. That's back to where we were some moments ago. Laura says, my mum said the TV licence was £11 then. Her mum gave her the money. Right, okay. Well, when's then? Let's see if I can squeeze this one in before we go. Westminster. Hello, Jane.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Last year you were trying to find out, this is a different subject now, about a feathered kind, a little bird.
Yes.
Did you find out what sort of...
Not definitively.
Not animal,
I think
bird
it's some sort of wader. It was but without going through it in detail, it was about the size of a robin in body.
I know
but,
you said
but
long legs.
Slightly elongated, not round like a robin, and it had legs which were at least twice as long as necessary.
Good Lord.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Right, cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. See, very, very polite. She just wanted some information, that's all. Yeah, don't start me on that again. It was mottled, grey and white, mostly white, I'd say, with a thin, elongated body about the size of a robin, and legs which were way too long for a bird of that size. It looked ridiculous, particularly as it was marching about a car park. I mean, it looked like it should have been on the banks of a river or something, with those long legs, keeping its bottom dry. Presumably that's what they're for. Because birds hate it when their bottom gets wet. I know I do. But I did not find definitively what the name of that bird was. And I only ever saw it twice. And one was in Reading, in a concrete wasteland of a shopping mall. And the other was in the south of London, outside a garage, also in a concrete wasteland. So either they were lost or they were stupid. One of the two. I suppose I'll never know. I'm going to be back at 10. So, oh, God, look at all these texts. I'll tell you what, if you texted me or emailed or whatever, and I'll probably wipe them up at the beginning of the show at 10 o'clock. How does that sound? Dissatisfied. Oh, well, never mind. Just add it to life's little disappointments, eh? I'll be back at 10 tonight. Ian Payne is here from 4, but right now it's Clive Bull.
Nick, thank you. And coming up, as Boris Johnson faces more questions about parts, 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 more